Annyeonghaseyo and welcome to day 2 of IEM Gyeonggi. I am Pulse and I'm joined by Papa Smithy, aka Big Papa. How are you today? You slept well?
I feel great. I still have got that post-Barcelona jet lag thing going on, but really excited to get into Group B. Group A matches were really interesting yesterday, finally starting to flesh out the 623 meta, and we don't have all the spark notes yet. We don't know all the cheat codes, but we're getting there. We're starting to understand the tech that will underlie the 2017 season patch.
Very true. And we had, of course, Immortals coming out of Group A as the 2nd seed, and then Samsung as the 1st seed. Looked very strong. We had to say goodbye to the Vega boys, unfortunately. Didn't put the great performances. But J-Team, very impressed with them. They took Immortals to the 3rd game in their series at the end of the elimination match. So almost took it to that win, but it was Immortals coming out on top. Today, though, it will be Group B, so we'll be getting into that one very shortly. And we have some very cool teams today. Of course, Kongdoo Monster going to be featuring here, along with Dark Passage as well, one of my favorite teams to see. Giants, of course, from the EU will be very entertained to see if they've
excited to see those as well.
There. Yeah, exactly. Knight as well, see if he can do that 1v9 action. And yeah, just in general, on Liquid, of course, who could forget about Liquid as the 4th team in Group B?
I think a lot of our fans on the English stream will be excited to see the new Team Liquid roster. Oni was actually officially announced a few days ago. Obviously, a lot of the names like Rainova were rumored for longer, but came back from All-Star, made that official announcement, and now we get to check in on where they're at, because there's certainly known parts of this team. Like we know what to expect from Rainova, Piglet as well. The solo laners are kind of the question mark here. Golden Glue has had its chances, but has never impressed at the highest level. Gets his chance once again after strong performances in Challenger. And then Lorlo had kind of an up-and-down season. He certainly isn't someone I would put a lot of criticism towards, but he can always take it to the next level.
We can see our schedule for today, as well as among with all the other tournaments that are going on here at IEM Gyeonggi, including League of Legends, StarCraft, and Overwatch.
Yep, Overwatch will kick off tomorrow. And speaking of tomorrow, we will move from the Seoul OGNE Stadium over to the Goyang Sports Complex in the general Kintex area. It's a little bit outside of Seoul in Gyeonggi. And this is our tournament format. Looks very complicated, but basically you guys need to know the first 2 games are best of 1s. They are for seeding, and then we hit the best of 3 stage.
TLDR, win 2, you're into the semi-finals. Lose 2, and you're taking a trip back home, and maybe a nice holiday in Korea, depending on what your travel plans are. But you need to try and get into those semi-finals and meet Immortals and Samsung, who made it out of Group A yesterday. And we'll see who will make it out, because Dark Passage and Kongdoo Monster will be the first series of today, and by series I mean best of 1, which you and me will be casting Big Papa.
Yeah, we still have a full complement of other casters here. We're kicking off the day, but Kilios, Freak, lots of other good ones. Deficio's in there somewhere, Seifer as well, but probably not casting.
Yeah, I mean, you've named them all there because there are 6 of us.
There's 6 of us, but hey, there's less Korean casters than there are English casters, so we got that going for us.
Which is nice. Match 2 will be Liquid and Giants Gaming. Again, that will be a best
NA
of
versus
1.
EU, baby. Twitch
to
chat's
go.
excited already.
Yeah, I can tell. I can feel it. I can't see it, but I know. And then winners match, losers match, and deciders will all be best of 3s to round up the day. So lots of League of Legends to go your way for today.
We have a losers match, I believe, is what that apostrophe at the end of S means.
Got it. Same for winners as well.
Sometimes overlays are hard. Losers match is one of my favorite parts of OGN. We have winners matches and losers matches here. And you need to get through the losers to get back into the decider.
That's true. And it will
There's
be
some life lessons right there. If you get through the losers, you get a decider.
Some pearls of wisdom from Papa. In his old age, he's collected many pearls of wisdom for you guys at home. So we'll be getting plenty more of those, I'm sure.
That's the plan.
That is
the plan. It's still early. 10 a.m. kickoff Seoul time, which is certainly an esports morning and then some. I'm a firm believer that the esports morning starts about 12.
Yeah.
Ends about 3 p.m. We are gamers after all. You guys know. Come on. You guys know. So we're going to do our best. Really excited to kick it off. And again, we had a Group A meta. It felt like a Group A meta developed. We didn't know what to expect. Would it be just like All-Star and plenty of people playing the Katarina and picks like that? The answer was no. Still the LeBlanc bans. There's still a lot of mid-lane focus. Now we're going to see Group B. And I have a feeling it's not just going to be a copy-paste of the picks and bans from Group A. Now, are we going to see tanks top, abusing Courage the Colossus? That part is almost 100% going to happen, but I feel like the rest of the picks, and specifically something like the jungle, where you have the God tier, you've got the Rek'Sai and the Lee Sin, and then you've got kind of 8 to 10 champions that fill out the rest. I feel like the jungle may be where we see some of the innovation today, and we kind of go from there and just see if there's any other picks. I mean, we saw Talia yesterday, which was a massive surprise.
Yeah, of course. It was Crown who was bringing that to the mid lane as well, and that was actually very effective. There were some whispers in previous patches that people were picking up Talia and trying to make that one work back
I
in
didn't
Europe,
hear any of them. Honestly, there was Talia pick ban, and then there was Talia just absent from the meta. So
I mean, not at the highest echelons of play. I know down in Challenger, some of the tournaments I was casting before I got here as well, Godbro was actually bringing that one to the table.
there's a name, a blast from the past.
Godbro.
Godbro.
He's still around, man. He was competing in
Vizio's
Ragnarok.
still around too, it turns out.
Yeah.
But this team is also still around. Kongdoo Monster, they were kind of the whipping boys of LCK Spring. But they were kind of the team you could get behind. You've got whipping boys, whether it's the big disappointment, but they replaced Najin. Obviously, have very famous Oracle players like Peanut, many other names have passed through there over the years. And they just didn't have the, I kind of always made the illusion, they just didn't have the cavalry on the field. They didn't have the playing quality to stand up. It was, a lot of rookies, people who had changed position against, established gods of the game in Korea. And while they were strategically pretty sound, it was just, hey, this opponent is just way better than me. We can't get it done. And they ended up getting relegated. But they went down, made some small roster changes. Punch comes into the lineup. Their previous jungler, Crush, left a lot to be desired. This guy is legit good. They were messing between Roach and Hippo on the top. They committed to Roach. And then coming back to the promotion tournament, I didn't have high expectations, and they shattered them. They looked fantastic, easily the best team of the four. And suddenly now, if they can keep up the level of play they showed there and show it today, going into LCK Spring next year with the same roster, I think this team could actually be mid-table, which is a big jump from their relegation candidacy of earlier last year.
For sure, and they definitely have the best uniforms I've seen so far of the tournament. Hopefully we get to see another player cam with that. But back on to Dark Passage, who will be their opponents for Game 1. Dark Passage have been around for the longest time, back in TCL, and then of course with Supermassive and Besiktas and Teams Equality. You see all of these top players, like you see on your screen, just kind of go through those lineups in different configurations. And back we have Holy Phoenix, who's now on to Dark Passage once more. He did have a small stint in EU Challenger Series where he was trying to break in with Huma into the European LCS. Didn't work out. Ku, you may also know from the European scene in terms of Challenger and also LCS. He's going to be playing on the roster, along with Immortaru, another name that we've seen for a long time in that league.
Weepo is one of the new players. He actually didn't even play in the qualifier for this tournament. Was subbed in. It's worth noting that technically Holy Phoenix, Ku, and Weepo are all temporary subs to this tournament. Obviously, if they impress, maybe things will change going into the TCL next year. But Dark Passage are kind of an enigma because they do have a lot of these mainstays of the Turkish scene, of the EU scene. They are, in some ways, a new team once again coming together. So what they put on the Rift, look, they did come through in straight sets through the Challenger tournament, but they fell behind a lot in the early game in those tournaments and got it together in the mid to late game. Sure, Samsung got away with that yesterday, but that's Samsung. It's a very different situation if, on standard lanes, you seed the early game and then try and pull it back in the late.
For sure, very different ball game that they will be playing in this one up against Kongdoo Monster, but we're into Champion Select. No delays today. Papa Smithy, Thresh, and Rengar will be starting off the bans for Kongdoo Monster, while LeBlanc banned away from Edge from Dark Passage.
So the meta that we saw yesterday was very focused around mid lane bans. The god tier mid laners, the likes of the LeBlanc, the Syndra, the Ryze, very frequently taken out. We saw some Syndra towards the end of the day. Let's see if things change here, because we didn't really see jungle bans. 1 or 2 Lee Sin bans, 1 Rengar ban, but it felt like people were just like, all right, let's swap Rek'Sai for Lee Sin and see what happens. Now we've already seen 2 jungle bans, so already the texture, specifically the mid lane, can't be targeted. We saw 4 to 5 mid lane bans in some games in the series yesterday.
Very clear top 2 in most of those roles. Top lane, jungle, as you were mentioning. Bot lane as well, we're seeing kind of the trifecta. Didn't see any Caitlyn, funny enough. Many people think that's still a very strong pick. As the Ivern ban, that was banned out yesterday against the Vega Squadron, who did manage to get it in one of their games. Zanzara tried it in the jungle, didn't manage to pan out for him, unfortunately.
I mean, it's worth knowing that, of course, they showed that in their qualifier for this tournament, so clearly, you look at the most recent match, you see Ivern and carried in that match, and okay, no Ivern. Different story here. Dark Passage haven't necessarily shown it in key games, but maybe it's a good scouting report onto Ku. Known for his aggressive picks, got a lot of Nidalee, which fell through to him on 621, which is when the Challenger patches were played. It's a new ballgame. Just to confirm, we're on 623, second patch of the 2017 preseason meta. Some of the old picks are strong, and Syndra left up. Inevitably, Syndra picked first pick.
Not a lot of mid lane bans outside of that LeBlanc into this Champion Select. That's left up Ryze, that's left up Syndra, a lot of the big power picks in that mid lane. So Syndra will be the priority here for Edge. Be very happy with that pickup. Both junglers have been taken away, so Rek'Sai still open. depending on who wants that as a top-tier pick. But again, Poppy, one of the top 2 in the top lane, and Jin, the choice AD carry for Holy Phoenix.
And look, Holy Phoenix is a strong Jin, but I think this is actually a takeaway pick from Seoul. Seoul was the first player in Korea to play Jin in competitive play. Prey went on to make it his champion, and then everyone was playing the Jin. But Seoul was one of the first. He was very, very solid. He's one of the players who, even when they were losing basically every match, you could look at Seoul and be like, this guy's got something about him. This guy is talented. So it's a takeaway pick. You might wonder, with Ashe, Jin available, why first rotation the Jin? It's a takeaway pick from Kongdoo Monster.
And there's a Rek'Sai in return. You would expect that coming out from Kongdoo Monster, not allowing Dark Passage another top-tier pick. And a Nautilus just matching the Poppy in the top lane. Those two we saw a bunch yesterday as that 1v1 erupted.
Don't speak too soon, though. We did see the LCK team at All-Star flex the Nautilus a lot. We don't see a support yet. Probably not going to be the Marta-style support Syndra, but there could definitely be a support Nautilus depending on what's drafted here. So I really am a big fan of either first picking or taking an early rotation Nautilus because of its flex pick status, but then it could just be tank wars in the top lane, and that's what it's going to be.
Yeah. I like to stick to my classic play-by-play statements there. It's just like, he's got to be top lane, and then we get the bot lock.
I'm wearing the tie. I'm the expert over here.
Unfortunately, I just have the haircut, so you can tell I'm the play-by-play just from the camera. But Rise and Tam Kench going to be picked up here from Dark Passage. Rise, very strong pick. I didn't always see that as the priority yesterday, but I know Deficio thinks he's still up there as a strong pick.
I'm really excited to see Dark Passage's last pick jungle. So we saw some teams try to last pick jungle and then just pick a Rek'Sai. Obviously Rek'Sai already taken, but pick a standard jungler. Are we going to see a frisky one? Are we going to see the likes of the Hecarim, a strong engager? They got a pretty balanced cop here, good engage, specifically a Poppy. Going to be taking on a lot of that engage. Will we see another engage champion from the jungle? Something to shut down the Syndra. Gap close, getting on top of her is a very, very important thing if you're going to take down the Syndra pick, which is so strong in the laning phase. What did Dark Passage want to take? And whoa, this would be interesting.
Oh, and it's locked in as well. Vi coming into the jungle. Just like you were saying, Papa Smithy, you take away Lee Sin, Rek'Sai, then you have a bunch of champions underneath in that B tier status. Vi, one of them.
And look, it suits Ku's playstyle. He is an aggressive jungler. Nidalee was available, but a lot of people passing it over on 623. And I asked for engage. Certainly a champion that can close the distance on Syndra. And it's one of those picks that, again, whispers of the Vi have been around. People are like, this champ is legit good. It's up there with the B tier picks. Feels like Rek'Sai, Lee Sin, God tier. And then we've got, say, 8 to 10. This is one of those. And now that a lot of the camps are very single target focused, sure, there are more of the Raptors. Sure, there are the Krubs being divided. But the big buffs, Vi takes them very, very fast, has that mobility to get around. Really interesting to see Vi in competitive play once again.
Love to see Q on this champion. You mentioned he's an aggressive player. That's all he's pretty much played for his entire career. He always likes to get on top of those carries, try and take them out himself, see what type of build he goes for. No doubt we'll be seeing the courage of the Colossus on that pick. Just a matter of how much damage focus he'll have in terms of his build now. See Holy Phoenix on your screen, a mainstay of the League of Legends scene for the longest time. Not really breaking into those big leagues that he wanted to, and finds himself back once more onto Dark Passage.
Now we get this best of one, an interesting one. Kongdoo on their way to the LCK, looking good in smaller tournaments, looking to step up here. And then Dark Passage, perennially entering a tournament as big underdogs, but with some strong players, with a chance to prove themselves. They go a long way to getting to the winner's match if they could take down Kongdoo Monster.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're on to the Rift for our first game of the day. It will be Group B of IEM Gyeonggi. Kongdoo Monsters shaping up against Dark Passage. Let's see how this one turns out for both of these two teams. And this is a best of one, so winners will progress to the winners match. Losers will go down, of course, to losers, and those will be best of threes. So plenty more chances for these teams to stay alive and also to get their shot at the semi-finals. But this will be starting off the proceedings for today, Papa Smithy.
Now let's talk about Vi. One of those champions that certainly we passed over, say, an Olaf in this position in previous patches. You mentioned that Courage of the Colossus is the big tank mastery du jour as Google walks up.
Hello. Bard's coming up there,
He's
but
really low.
CC down and pop up. That's the fourth shot in from Jin. That'll be the first kill on the first blood over to the AD carry. Disastrous start for Kongdoo.
Yeah, Bard was just too disconnected from the likes of Roach. There were other people that could be on the front lines. Bard very, very squishy. On the few disadvantage this champion is those low base stats and taken out, and exactly the steadier that Dark Passage wants, and you can't ask for much better kill allocation than it going straight to that Jhin.
And that'll be a long sword on top of his Terran's blade to start up this laning phase. Not a great position for Sol to be in. And I'm sure Bard will be apologizing for that. In the short play, turned the corner, found a lot of Dark Passage members behind it, but we'll get into this laning phase now.
Flash is down as well, so that will be a possible target for ganks. But again, we should return to Vi. Vi is the big X factor in this game, and the reason why she's interesting is that she actually is a deceptively good user of Courage of the Colossus. Olaf, no way to proc it, doesn't have Strength of the Aegis, one of the reasons he started to fall off. The thing about Vi is that, of course, she gets that auto-attack passive shield when she gets in there with abilities, and then because Q has the displacement effect, it also procs Courage of the Colossus. So suddenly, the earlier ganks, when you're just not exploding people, when you're actually just looking for initiation rather than having the sheer damage to kill someone, she actually has enough shielding between Courage and the passive to not just die instantly. Before she was just, you go in, either you kill or be killed, because she has really only one way to go and fight. Now she gets that extra shield, the masteries help her out, the single target big camps help her out, and now just jumping up in priority.
First time didn't work out. Let's invade once more, says Bard, and he'll place down that ward. So get a bit of knowledge, bit of vision of where Ku is starting for his jungler. And Punch will be on those Raptors as well. And there's Riot just farming out this lane. Edge in the mid lane up against the Mortaru. The Syndra versus Ryze, both top tier picks in the current meta. It's all about farming for the first couple levels for both of these players. Top lane, Roach against Whippo.
Let's just focus on the fact that it's Nautilus versus Poppy, and by focus I mean just don't even show.
Focus.
Come on, observers, you know not to show Nautilus versus Poppy
We
trades.
just need to acknowledge the players that are up there and say, we'll check back in on how they're doing in 30 minutes time when they picked up 4 items and join the team fights.
And that's the thing, is that, you know, people are very quick to be like, oh god, it's the tank meta again, so boring seeing these tanks up top. And if you're showing them trading, I completely agree, but what's kind of lost in translation is that, let's say this was a very different lane, Jace versus, I'll just say Shyvana, you know, non-initiation picks, you know, poke picks. In lane, sure, there's kill pressure, but they teleport into a fight, and they're teleporting defensively, they don't really have flank opportunities. The cool thing about Nautilus, Maokai, and Poppy being in the meta is that if you get good wards down, they're going to start a fight in the teamfight phase. So, exciting picks for the teamfight phase, exciting picks for teleport flanks, not exciting picks for the laning trade. So, it's a different type of excitement, but unless we do see jungle intervention, not much interest in watching top.
I mean, Roach is very much pushed up, and Ku is charging the Vault Breaker. Unfortunately, he cuts the vision by walking into the brush, so Ku will think second of it, jump back to his tower and his top laner. But indeed, we saw Flame yesterday have some killer performances on Poppy, and was pretty much unkillable. He was pretty much the reason that Immortals won the last game, because 4 people initiated on him, hit him for like 20 seconds, realized they weren't doing any damage, and then he killed them all. Yeah. So...
Getting really low in these trades, won't quite fall. Very steadfast on those summoners.
Yeah, he was definitely knowing that he had a little bit more in the tank just in case he was trading up against the cannon minion. I was a little bit scared for him. He knew how much he could take, so he'll jump away now, go back to base. And Ku has not yet been able to get involved in these lanes to try and make a gank happen. But he is still trying to look for it. Went once top, and we'll now see Punch in his top river. So we'll have to try and be more inventive about his gank paths.
It's level 5, good damage gank, but no more than that. Kind of a Middle East type at this point, where, okay, there is set up CC in terms of the Poppy heroic charge, also the Ryze route in mid lane, but, you know, the real cash is at level 6, just like a Nocturne, just like other level 6 junglers. That's when Vi really hits her power spike, so unless we see somebody hugging the wall in top lane, probably best to just power farm, and power farming is something that's very viable. That's an awkward thing to say with Vi in the game, but very viable in the new jungle. Vi
stands for viable in the new jungle.
Hey, I don't say too much, otherwise I'll wish that DP gets through and you get Immortaru versus Immortals. That's an interesting one.
It'll be fun to cast.
Of course, we're in Korea, where we once had Lee playing Lee Sin against Eve playing Eve. That was a great game.
How did your play-by-play cope with that?
That was Doa, so he, you know, he had his fun. He did his best.
Are you okay?
I just get solo killed
He's
here.
just gonna get auto attacked there. I don't really know what was going on there. He was just standing still, and if this was an online tournament, like so many times I've seen Dark Passage, I would say, oh, lag. But we're on LAN. I don't know what happened there. Hopefully we'll get a replay.
Yeah, we don't have a pause either, so have to assume that was just completely watching another lane or something along those sides. Very punished. Solo kill starts, and this is certainly a trend that can extend. You give Syndra one solo kill in lane, she comes back with a Fiendish Codex, a Lost Chapter. In this case, it's a Lost Chapter and extra Dorans, and kill pressure only goes up from here. False.
Yep. It's dark days when Syndra gets to the point where she one-shots whoever she clicks R on. And it's rapidly getting to that point, so needs to try and shut that one down, but Ku has now hit level 6, so he might look towards the mid lane, as you can see him top side of that river. And Immortal also returning to the mid lane, so maybe he'll get this gank down. Edge did have to use his flash, remember, to pick up that kill. And Ku is charging up, the Bolt Breaker moves on to him, but the spot lane where there's a fight. Nope, never mind, it's mid lane. And Edge, last auto attack, denting blows, not quite enough damage to finish him off. Immortal not jumping in there, didn't really react very fast to that gank.
Yeah, no, the cleanse from Edge actually came up trumps. They would cleanse away the Rune Prison from Immortal. No flash from Immortal to actually just get another overload in the face of Edge, and escapes just about 150, 200 health. So very important that the answering kill didn't go to the right to kind of steady the gold flow in the mid lane. Syndra doesn't die. Syndra's able to get the recall in, and nice stuff from Dark Passage, but important that now the long cooldown, have to wait for the next Vi ultimate, and they don't get purchased out of the first one.
Maybe Ku can go for another repeat gank in the mid lane with Edge being down to summoners. Ku still has his flash, so he can Q flash if Edge tries to get out of it. So very hard for him to miss that Q now. One of those fun interactions that Vi can do. And now handing over the blue buff to Immortal. So there is still a window for Ku to open up a mid lane gank.
Let's talk a bit about Kongdoo, a team that we already spoke about the fact that their members, needed more seasoning in Challenger, which of course they got, playing through and winning the summer season of the NLB here in Korea. But the other thing is, strategically, when they did play in the LCK, they had one style. They could play a poke comp, and they could do nothing else. Literally, Varus mid, poke comp. They were very good. They were very disciplined. Again, they still had the problems where their standard lanes would lose because there was greater talent on the other side. But if they could get a poke comp going, they were actually very smart at closing out the game, strategically intelligent, just lacking the kind of playing quality they needed to win consistently against the top teams in Korea. Watching them in Kesper Cup, they have adapted. They have definitely picked up more strings to their bow. They can play a pick comp, which is usually what Nautilus and Syndra Rek'Sai will symbolify. They can play multiple styles. They have gotten a lot better. Specifically, Roach is way better. They had their main issues in LCK were top lane and jungle. They've changed their jungler. Punch is much more impressive than Crush was, and Roach has gotten a lot better, can play more styles. Still favors the tanks. Speaking of tanks and Roach,
I mean, Poppy's been wailing on Roach for a good long while before Ku gets involved into the top lane. Punch with the counter gank, doing a lot of damage. Queen of the Zersai going ham here. Ku will have to try and back away. Kind of juking back and forth, but Edge coming in from the mid lane. Dodges out of the way of the force of will. Q anchored to the back of the head. Will secure the first kill. Whippo, not long for this world, but Punch goes all in, and Whippo's still alive. Edge now closing in from the backside. Lands the Dark Spear, taking lots of damage, but the final W just finished him off. A nice 2-for-1 there for Kongdoo.
Poppy's deceptively tanky, but overall pretty good trade for the side of Kongdoo Monster. Yeah, chose their targets well, hooked to death. Don't see that interaction very much from Roach. Pick up the 2. Overall, pretty good stuff. Skill shot accuracy and that kind of mechanical step up I was alluding to on full display.
That was a New Dawn interaction right there. The anchor finishing him off. Lots of damage coming out. If you build AP Nautilus, which I have on occasion, Q actually does a lot of damage. Great to max as a first one.
I always love you talking about your solo Q transgressions.
Some people
talk about their solo Q picks. Your picks are always transgressions, because it's always, yeah, I'm playing my AP Alistair / I'm playing my Illaoi. You are certainly the hipster, sir.
Thank you. It's also great because sometimes I get to talk to Spawn, and he's usually doing the same thing that I am. AP Alistair, big proponent of that pick. But unfortunately not going to see that one today. The one time that we do see a weird pick, I'm your man. I will know all about it. I was very sad I was not on the Illaoi and Riven game that happened at All-Stars, but maybe we'll see one of those picks. I'm hearing that Riven with Courage of the Colossus is pretty decent nowadays.
And Ryze with Courage of the Colossus too. I didn't actually spy the Keystone, but would be surprised if it wasn't the Courage, just because the ranged proccing with the Rune Prison, which is one of those hard CC abilities, and then just the option to also Q, means you just suddenly early in the game have just casual 300-400 extra HP, which Really helps in the trades, especially to keep sturdy against someone like Syndra.
We did see some Storm Raiders and IWCA, and then going into All-Stars, pretty much everyone's going through other classes on that rise. So pretty strong. And also has innate shields as well, but also has that shield of the Seraph, so...
And we saw it with Maple, right, who was basically like, I'd never seen this before. And then the next game, he played Rise, and he encouraged the Colossus. So a quick study, clearly seeing that it's a very strong mastery choice.
Oh, I have double the health now. Excellent. Punch in the enemy jungle. He is taking away some Crooks. It takes quite a long time to take away camps now because they do kind of do that slime thing and turn into smaller Crooks now.
One of the big interactions there, because Vi is a pretty good power farmer, but because she has to use her gap close ability to clear camps, you max Q first to Vault Breaker. The moment that she's found in the jungle by a Rek'Sai, she's instantly out-dueled by the fact that she can't get out. She can either hard commit, or if she sees the mid lane miss, basically has to run away. So Rek'Sai's just happy to pop in, take away camps, and really nothing Vi can do. She's not looking for the 1v1. It's when she has the jump on someone that Vi really shines.
Vault Breaker does a lot of damage. Every point you put in that, it's extra 50. But landing it is where you have to be, and that's just a full combo once again from Edge. And I don't really understand what's happening in these trades, because Immortal just kind of takes it to the face.
Is it a trade when Edge takes damage from a turret and just kills the other person for full health pulse?
I guess not. I guess it was just him being brutally murdered.
I mean, that was basically taking the stick to the Pinata, being like, bash, bash, bash. The Pinata looks very pretty. But sad.
Yeah, but there was 300 gold in that Pinata, so Edge would be very happy with that.
That's way better than Pinata's IO.
What are usually in those? I'll ask you in a second, because it is Rogue who's under attack in the bottom lane. Holy Phoenix is going to be eaten up and spat back to safety. Ku is waiting around the corner just in case Punch decides to go any further.
It's sort of confectionery, that's what I like in my Pinatas. But cash, I mean...
yeah, exactly. Ku could complain about a couple hundred gold, and Edge, I'll be taking this one. No, Punch will be taking this one. Queen's Wrath will be finishing that one off. We're going to get a replay of something.
Let's see a replay of Syndra versus Rise. Well, he hit all his skill shots, so turns out you're doing even more damage when you hit the skill shots. We've learned from watching Syndra that in the late game you can miss most of them and still get the kill.
And still kill someone.
But, you know, the more buys you get, maybe that'll actually be the case in the mid lane very soon. Anyway.
I mean, he's massive. 3-0-0.
Super massive?
You could say that.
No, it's Dark Passage.
Oh, really? Okay. I do love watching me some DP. Dark Passage is a very strong team in their own right.
No comment, Pulse.
No comment. That's your analysis on this one. Ku. Nice going back to base. Great skin, Demon Vine.
But this is what Punch has brought the team. Because Crush was very much a defensive jungler, and Punch is the opposite. He shows the aggression. He loves getting and tussling an enemy jungle, expecting there to be an initiation from the Tahm Kench. They're waiting to see Sol and Guga walk up past the river, and smartly, they're kind of assessing the situation, realizing that their Rek'Sai was top, clearing out the top jungle. Those camps have been up for a while, therefore the Vi is in the bot side jungle. Putting 2 and 2 together and smartly pulling back.
And Edge now taking his booba. He's picked up the Morellonomicon, so he's in great shape, whereas Immortaru, unfortunately only sitting on a tier, which does represent his current mental state. 4 and 2. 2,000 gold advantage to Kongdoo. They pick up the first dragon, which will be Mountain. And next one's going to be Cloud, so we'll be combining that one.
Somewhere Freak's happy.
Somewhere. Somewhere. Good Cloud Drake.
He's a Cloud Drake enthusiast. That should actually be his
NA
title.
casters in general are.
But Freak is the number one. He should take away NA Shoutcast and put Cloud Drake enthusiast on his Twitter.
I would like that. Oh, Holy Phoenix. Guga has been landing some great bindings on Holy Phoenix through the slading phase. Has not really resulted in anything so far, but I see you. I see your cosmic binding accuracy.
Speaking of being spotted, not sure if Ku was actually in vision range there. I'm going to say no, but once again, we're seeing him just camp around bot lane. Really wants to get some snowball going in a lane that can win. Probably too late to salvage mid lane, so given we've got tanks in top, it's understandable that he's been focusing on the bot lane. But Sol and Guga, these guys were pretty good in LCK the first time out, looked way better in the promotion tournament. We actually saw Nuclear today going over to the EU LCS, joining Che over at H2K, and it was Sol and Nuclear on the very much bottom tier 2 teams, Fenu and Kongdoo Monster, that impressed me this engage time.
kind of an engage because it has just put both of those members in stasis. Whippo in from the top lane, Punch taking a bunch of damage. Roach now coming in, dodge this one, Holy Phoenix. Soul will be finishing off the Mystic shot. Edge coming down into the bot lane, and Whippo, he's the only one remaining, but he is a very tanky puppy. Unfortunately, under 5 members duress, unable to get out. 3-0, Kongdoo taking on home in the bottom lane.
And this is what you expect. Their map movement is so superior to Dark Passage. Vi is clearing camps on the top. The one time she's not camping the bot lane, finally established it being on top. They choose their point. 5 members show up in the bot lane. You'll actually see the Poppy came through, but Rise anchored to mid lane, didn't even bother to ult to the bot lane. Could have ghosted, looked for an ult, but kind of read the situation right with 3 people going down. Vi on the wrong side. There's something to be said about using your economy of time. There's so much opportunity cost when you're a jungler, because when you're somewhere, when you're clearing, you're not somewhere else. So far, Ku's been in the wrong positions at the wrong time, and now, unfortunately, is just out of position when he needed to be bottom.
Sad times for Ku. He did take the opportunity to farm out the top wave. Mao and Mortaru also stayed in the mid lane and farmed out his wave, so they got a bit of damage on the opposing towers, but all not that much, and definitely not enough to compensate for the 7-kill deficit that Dark Passage are currently under. 4,500 gold.
And you may wonder why. Why did that work, whereas all the camping from Ku didn't work? It's because they kind of prepped it up. They put down the right wards so they would have an excellent teleport spot for the Nautilus, and the Nautilus came in. We've come to the point where just getting these ganks, especially with Punch being so aggressive on the top side, making Vi predictable, is hard unless you invest the teleport. How many times yesterday did we see teams from the red side put down a ward at enemy blue side Krugs and 4-man dive the bot tower? Happened maybe 5 to 6 times. You need to invest your top lane. You need to fully commit. You need to have everyone in position. Speaking of being in position,
or you just need to combo down the bot lane from Dark Passage. Double kill very fast there from Kongdoo, moving into the mid lane with this triple minion stack, and Punch following after Poppy, forcing the flash from Whippo. And Ku will have to back away. Nothing he can really do to defend this. Hammer has been brought down, Punch knocked against the tower, but it's Ku under attack. Look at the damage out from Edge. Delete Ku from the table. Meanwhile, Roach underneath the tower. He is so massive, not taking any damage. Now down in the inhibitor tower. Immortaru, nowhere to run. Not even his own base is safe. Gugir just needs to finish him off. One more auto attack. He has no flash, and Immortaru somehow escapes. Gugir saves the life of Roach, and mid tower now being pushed in. That was a crazy trade in the mid lane.
once again, it's Kongdoo Monster just all over Dark Passage. Before the tournament started, before we had Samsung firm, I was looking at this Kongdoo team as the favorites for the tournament. Now they have Samsung to contend with, but we finally saw the Tom Kent show up, and he was just donating a double kill over to the side of Kongdoo Monster, and the snowball is on. We have already a huge gold lead, very close to 10,000 at 19 minutes, and the gulf in quality between these two teams is here for all to see.
Gugir really turning up though. After losing that first blood, has only done good things for the team of Kongdoo. 7 assists. I've been seeing binding after binding. That was an instant double bind coming out of Rogue's ultimate, and just went down. He's just been doing a fantastic job for this Kongdoo lineup, really synergizing with Soul in the bottom lane.
And we saw first pick Syndra's quite a bit towards the tail end of yesterday. There was the Echo counter pick that people were playing with in the mid lane, and in general, some of the first pick Syndras struggled. Not seeing that from Edge, who's now play the pick champions. Kongdoo Monster, they can turn it on, and they want more kills.
Well, Ku's charging up the Vault Breaker into the Assault and Battery onto Soul, but his ally's already dead, and so is he. Two more kills over to Kongdoo. I'm losing the ability to speak English.
That's because you're so in awe of Kongdoo Monster.
Exactly. Mid lane, Whip up, taking some damage from Edge. He is a puppy, but honestly at this stage, when Syndra's so big, maybe he can pick up the kill, or maybe not, because there is Holy Phoenix lining up the shot and takes out his quarry. So another 2 kills, or another 1 kill over to Dark Passage. That will be another 50% on the board.
But this is definitely one of those meanwhile at times, Pauls. Meanwhile at the ranch, in this case the ranch is the inhibitor turret in the bot lane for Dark Passage. Kongdoo getting a few pot shots. Certainly Edge was overextended, but it's just a flow-on effect of the fact that every lane is winning from the side of Kongdoo Monster, even though Nautilus has spent a lot of time roaming around, has the CS advantage over his lane. All 3 lanes winning CS in the jungle, close to doubling at this point, lets you know that no problems at all. It's a stroll in the park for Kongdoo Monster.
This game is cascading out of control for Dark Passage. 10,000 gold lead, 2 Dragon advantage, 10 kills over their opponents, 5 towers, and Baron's going to be up very shortly as well. Like, this team is so far ahead, and they have a fair jungler, a fair mid laner, bot lane's been doing a great job, top lane's doing Nautilus things. Like, Dark Passage, I don't really see how they win this game.
I think that's, that's honestly the way it is. Back in previous seasons, we did have those conversations where, like, okay, what's the chances? How does this team come back? In LCK, we're realists, Pulse. They're not going to come back. They're far too far behind too early. There's less gold in the game than there was before, so the gold lead actually means more than it did in Season 4, in Season 3. But there to be over a 10,000 gold lead at 21 minutes, when we average, what, 1,500 gold lead at this point, lets you know that the goal for items, even if Dark Passage made the right engage, they're too far behind for it to matter.
Rogue's being chased down. Edge is over the wall. Whoa. What was that damage? Oh, Rogue instantly dies. Holy Phoenix going to evaporate underneath Punch. Immortaru, there's the ultimate. The quick R to the face will finish him off. And 3-0. Another flurry of kills to Kongdoo. That was just dirty in the top jungle.
I mean, just everyone's squishy. We're still so early in the game. The only tank purchases are on the Poppy. You can see Ku is going predictably given his style for a damage build, but that means he will also evaporate the moment that someone like Edge hits a skill shot. We saw the bot lane turret started to get down. Well, top lane turret is gone. Top lane inhibitor is gone, and hard to see this game going much longer than 25 minutes from a Kongdoo Monster perspective.
Honestly, this may be the fastest game of the tournament so far. I thought J-Team Immortals' first game that we saw of the tournament was a fast one, but Kongdoo Monster, 22 minutes in, are closing in on these Nexus towers now, and they have a pretty decently sized minion wave. Probably one more fight left in Dark Passage with the Initiate, but he's the tankiest member, and he's going to have to get swallowed up by Rogue. Immortaru comes in. Gugia not going to be dropping just yet, but it's Ku who assassinates Soul in the backlines. Gugia also going to fall to Ku with a nice flash coming out there. Balls all over the floor from Edge, trying to find his kill onto Ku in return. Vault Breaker doesn't quite land, but it's dropped by the Dark Sphere. Punch now with Roach, going 2 versus 3, but the cavalry has arrived in the form of Syndra. Whippo charges in, lines up the shot, but it's going to be knocked away by Scatter the Weak. Holy Phoenix trying his damnedest to make this game happen for his team, but the defense is just not strong enough. Rogue one down, and Ed trying to find a kill onto the Nexus, onto the spawn pad. The rest of his team finishing off this game onto the tower, and a team fight within the base of Dark Passage, 20-5. Kongdoo may be backing away from this because of the respawn time being so low.
Yeah, the spawn time is so low at 23 minutes. We still have just over level 10 members on Dark Passage side, nowhere near getting rank 3 in their ultimates, so the spawn time is around 20 seconds. Importantly, Soul was one of the people dead, so the turret taking threat is going to take longer. They're focusing on the kills. They'll go back, spend their gold. 20-5 is the kill lead. An embarrassment of riches for the likes of Punch and Edge, 8 and 9 kills respectively. And they'll just turn around and end the game when they so damn well please.
Ku saying, look guys, my damage build is working out for me. I got 2 kills in the last fight. Yes, I died very quickly, as you just saw, but I did defend the base. So my damage build is working.
Well, he's got a Spectre's Cowl, which unfortunately kind of doesn't do too much against
a tank now.
The Void Staff and the Liandry's Torment completed. Punch going to take some free damage.
Yeah, not very much of that free damage though. It's not all you keep buffet, unfortunately. Whippo is going to be jumping onto Soul, and everyone's taking the passage to safety. See you later. Edge going to be slammed against the wall. Immortaru, the follow-up, but no one's dead just yet from Kongdoo. However, many members dead from Dark Passage within their own base, and even though that wasn't Kongdoo finishing off the game 2 minutes ago. Oh! Roach styling on Dark Passage within their base. I think he knows his game is done. Has not died once in this game. And Kongdoo finishing up the game in style. Take the series over Dark Passage.
And if you take the nameplates off, Pulse, could have said that was Samsung Galaxy. Such was the clean play from Kongdoo Monster. I put this team around mid-table in LCK next year, which is high praise given where they're coming from, given their meager start, first in LCK, then getting re-promoted back to the Challenger Series. New logo, new look for Kongdoo Monster, and a lot to be happy about. This team very much doesn't have the fan base, still very much developing, but the development is accelerated, and it's going to be great to watch them in a best of 3 in the winners match.
Impressive play, impressive execution of their plans, great mechanics, great laning phase, great uniforms, great hair.
Need some new adjectives, Pulse. We've only got greats so far on this list.
Yeah, I was getting to Guga's hair because...
Pulse approved?
Pulse approved.
Nice.
Yeah, top tier. Gonna have to take a selfie with him at some point. Unfortunately, Dark Passage, not the game that they really wanted. This was a best of one, so now dropping into the losers bracket, which will be a best of 3, so they still have a chance to come back and reach the semi-finals. But Ku and Holy Phoenix, some mainstays of the League of Legends scene, were not really able to make it happen for this new lineup coming out from the TCL.
Sometimes you see why the new tech in Vi is just not as superior as, you know, Rek'Sai was right top 2 in the jungle, specifically Punch's pathing, made them predictable, took them down. Great stuff for Kongdoo Monster.